Hey, what's up guys, Derek here. So finally piecing together another video for you guys. Things have been so crazy busy that I haven't even been sleeping some nights on some of these weeks here. So YouTube is certainly one of the first things to get chopped. But this clip here is off in our security camera system that's mounted on our RV. This is actually turning into our main boondocking spot. So those of you who come here, this is what it's going to look like turning off the pavement into our spot. And then this is back in our spot. On this field here, I call it our spot. It's state land, so it's not like I own this. It's just state public land, but it's a nice spot back in here, a nice big open field so the kids can ride their bikes all over the place and the wymie can roam free. So it doesn't matter if you're in a big heavy Class A or a big heavy fifth wheel setup like we have, or just a tiny little travel trailer. There is lots of space here for you. So this week's install is another Riverstone fifth wheel that we're going to actually be building a rack on. So it's going to be a similar system to what is on our RV. So we're going to be using the Iron Ridge racking system and floating panels over top of everything. That's on the back of the truck there. Some of the Renogy new 590s, so I'm excited to use those on this. They're the exact same size as the 550s that's on my RV, just they're 590 watts. And then also something a little different on this one, we're going to be using Epoch 24-volt batteries on this one, so it's going to be a pretty big battery bank. Most stuff's going to go up front here in the generator bay. Since he doesn't have a generator, we're going to tear that generator box out of there. So these are those Renogy 590s I was talking about. I'm going to cut some of them open here. It's always exciting to open a new panel that you haven't used before, especially one of the biggest panels that I've ever had. So there's some 600 watt panels out there, but I like these Renogy panels because they're a little bit lighter. They're bifacials, and I'm not a huge Renogy fan when it comes to the rest of their equipment, but they make some really awesome solar panels, and I've had some really good luck with the ones that are on my RV. I'd love to switch them out for these 590s. Well, got the generator box tore out, and then also removed the positive and negative, which was for the starter for the generator. That's what this is from. So it was wired up in there. You can see the screw holes. Generator box is right there. I'll probably use it to just keep tools dry for the next week while I'm working on this. But that'll be a nice big area. We're going to do batteries here. Boom, 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 boom. And then that I'm probably going to get rid of, even though the power management happens there. I think I've figured out a way to overcome that. So Autoformer, inverter, links, solar controller somewhere in here. Burr. It's the middle of winter in Michigan. We're freezing our butt off. I'm just kidding. It's, I don't know, almost July 1st. It's cold today. It's like 60 degrees. I'm all bundled up. I got my long underwear on. That's a joke too, but I do have my hood up though. It's cold. Anyways, this is getting quite the solar install up here. It's going to look like that. But it's going to have 590s, which those are only 550s, and I just want to throw them in the garbage now and buy 590s, but I keep telling myself it's not worth the $4 grand, $5 grand for extra 400 watts, but it would put me at 7,000 watts. A little over, actually. Anyways, we're going to build the same thing on here. We just, if any of you guys have been following me, you know, 4 weeks ago or something, my video was a Riverstone rack system, which is kind of where this one has come from. So we're just getting started here. I took this off to get some wires down. I've done a few things. I got the generator box ripped out, the inverter, factory inverter taken out. So even though it's freezing cold, I can barely stand it, I'm still getting a few things done. Another cloudy day here in Michigan. Weather's been kind of crappy this year. Not gonna lie, it's either like super hot and then cloudy and rainy, or it's been cold, cloudy and rainy. But anyways, enough complaints. This is where we're at with this thing. That's a massive battery bank. So it's 29,440 watt hours. It is 1120 amp hours at 24 volts. So not nearly as big as that Victron country coach that I did, but it's still a big battery bank. He's gonna not have any power shortages, especially with the 6,400 watts we're putting on the roof. So I've hung these guys twice because they were a little crooked the first time, even though I measured, but for some reason that paneling I put up, I apparently got that just a little crooked, and I measured off in that. So this time I measured off in the ceiling, and we got them much straighter. So we're gonna put the links over here because it's the only place it would fit. Like, it wouldn't go there very well, not without being in the way. So I'm kind of looking at it like maybe it would have, but not. I think this would be better. The solar controllers will all end up here. Batteries all go to there. Inverters will go to there, and the solar controllers will all be I'm just working on this with the wine. This Brinkley just popped in to get a shunt installed real quick. So they were here for an hour and a half, 2 hours. They were headed out, and then back to work to this. Finally a nice day here in Michigan, sunny and upper 70s. What do you think, Wimey? You an olive? You a Weimer. Alright, so we're wrapping up things here for today. I got some stuff done down below, and then I got the rails started up here on the roof. I only spent probably 2 hours up here was all, maybe 3, I don't know. But I got them all going. There'll be a lot more posts than that. I'm actually waiting on some standoffs to be delivered on Monday, so I was just started with what I had, and it'll make it easy to just go in and fill in the other post. We got to extend it a little bit more here. It's kind of up in the air and how far we're going to go. It just depends on where number 10 stops and then where number 11 would stop. Will depend on whether we do 10 or 11. But we did get the first 590 up here though. First 590 watt panel I've ever installed. Wouldn't know it's any different than that one. Those over there, those are 550s, but those are 590s. I did get the rubber mat installed there, and I resealed the whole front cap like I typically do, just because it's easier to do it now than later. So, catch you guys tomorrow. So even though it's raining, I keep working, which is the case a lot of times, because I don't have the time to just stop because of rain, and I'm not gonna be like, see, you need to shop because it rains and then you have to stop working. So looky here, I just use boxes, keeps everything nice and dry. See, all this is dry, good and dry. This is what we're working on. And even though it's pouring rain like crazy, I can keep going because of the overhang. And even if it's a motorhome, I'll just take big pieces of cardboard, like what's keeping my equipment dry over there, since my truck is getting worked on right now from the accident in Florida that put the dent in my bumper. Yeah, that's getting fixed all this week. So I got the big thick cardboard from the solar panels, which are right there, keeping my stuff dry. So I'll take that kind of cardboard and lean it against the side of a motorhome and accomplish the same thing that I am with this right now. So looks like the sun would like to come out. Anyways, I'm gonna keep going. Just wanted to show you guys that rain or shine, CCRV solar keeps going, just like the post office. You riding your bike, bud? Hey, buddy. Hey, bud. So we're getting close to getting this one done finally. I haven't filmed much of it because it's been so busy that I just haven't had time to slow down and think about filming it. I don't even know what I have filmed, if any of it. I'm sure I filmed the roof before I got started, but I got 2 more panels to carry up here and get them all secured. Obviously these are just sitting here, that's not how they're going to be, but, and then that'll be it. The system down below is done, besides a few zip ties and stuff. So whatever, I'll show you guys everything when I'm done. Hey guys, we're finally getting this one done here. Always takes longer to wrap up these rack systems on the end of them than what the other systems do. There's just so many little wires to deal with, all the extra sealant, and then once you got the panels all up there and wired, then you still got to go through and get them all straightened up and secured and stuff. So but we finally got there. I think this one turned out super nice, but I love all the rack systems I build. I'm probably kind of biased to that, but we put 11 of the Renogy 590 watt panels. So these are their new 590s. This is the first time I used them. They're the exact same size as my 550s, so I really want to switch mine out to these 590s, but I keep telling myself it's not worth it. So there's enough room to walk down the edge, kind of like on mine. It's really hard to get these things perfectly centered, so there's a little bit more room on the passenger side of the RV than the driver's side, but I also somewhat shoot for that, so then you can get to this combiner box a little bit easier if need be, and then you are just able to get down one edge. So here's another look from underneath the rack. So again, I put lights on the roof like I've been doing on these rack systems, so they shine up on the solar panels. They look super nice. They're a Govee light, so you can control them with your phone, so you don't really need a switch or anything. You can just change all the colors and turn them on and off with your phone, which is awesome. Alright, let's wander around and check out the rest of the system up front, the Victron equipment and the batteries. Got Emma Lynn coming along to do her final inspection and make sure she thinks everything's okay. You can see I got the door propped up with this 2x4. Yeah, that's because the bracket broke while I was working up in here. I just was standing up in there and all of a sudden, bang, got hit with this big old heavy door. And Riverstone's doors are really heavy. There's good insulation in there. Anyways, I think things turned out really nice here. We ended up doing 5 of Epoch 230 amp hour 24 volt batteries. Originally I quoted them 4, but 5 fit so nicely that we just decided to do the 5th one. Then we put the link setup over here on the side, and then we got 2 of the 70 amp converters making 140 amps for his DC system. There's a battery protect back in there, but you can't really see it unless you look close. You can see the blinking light. Then we got 4 solar controllers. We got 2 of the 250 100s, and we got one 150 45, and then that front tilted panel is on its own 100/30 solar controller. And over here we got 2 5000 VA multi+2 inverter chargers. So these are wired together in split phase. They go out of that to the Autoformer for load balancing, like you guys have seen me do many times here before. The breaker box down there that I painted blue, that's just for splitting the neutral and ground on the AC input, so shore power goes through there and then to the inverters. There's a little battery monitor back in there for the Epoch batteries that they send to make the Bluetooth work. Real quick here at the end, I included some of the stats from the first few days, so you can see all these panels are outperforming what the string is rated for. So that front panel hit 610 watts. All the other strings did better than what the math adds up to. All right, everybody, that does it for this one. My schedule is a little bit easier moving forward. I don't have installs stacked on top of each other, so I'm hoping I can get back to getting you guys a video every week and then staying on top of the emails that are coming in. But we will be in Michigan here for a couple months yet. Really, we stay here till around November time. I do have openings in October and some in September even still. So from there, we head down south into Georgia to do an install. And then we'll be bouncing around Florida a little bit, and that'll take us probably till sometime mid-January. From there, we'll head out west to Arizona. So if you guys are interested in getting some solar done by Cross Country RV Solar, just pick up the phone, give me a call, or send me an email. Thanks, everybody, for supporting our dream.